Good morning, students. Hope all of you are fine. Beta, this lecture is also in continuation of revision of chapter 4, and name of the chapter is The Central Islamic Lands. Beta, in previous lecture we discussed about the evidences, that on which evidences this chapter is based, and then we discussed the topic the rise of Islam in Arabia, that how Prophet Muhammad established Islam. So the today topic is the caliphate, expansion, civil wars and sect formation. After Muhammad's death in 632, no one could claim to be the next prophet of Islam. Means there was not any clear successor. So as a result, his political authority was transferred to the Ummah with no established principle of succession. Beta, this Ummah means whosoever were the followers of Islam. And even because there was not any succession system, so this created opportunities for innovations but also caused deep divisions among the Muslims. And the biggest innovation was the creation of institution of caliphate, in which the leader of the community became the deputy or khalifa of the prophet. And the first four caliphs justified their powers on the basis of their close association with the prophet and continued his work under the general guidelines he had provided. It means beta jo hamare four khalifas, their working was according to the regulations those were given by Prophet Muhammad. And the twin objectives of the caliphate were to retain control over the tribes constituting the Ummah and the raise resources for the state. It means these caliphs, they have only two major objectives. One was to control over the tribes which were constituting the Ummah, and other was to generate the financial resources for the state. And after Muhammad's death, many tribes broke away from the Islamic State. And some of them, they were even raising their own prophets to establish communities modeled on the Ummah. Means now more communities, those were coming into existence. The first Caliph Abu Bakr suppressed the revolts by a series of campaigns. Now because people were breaking from these Islam, so the first Caliph, he just suppressed all these revolts by a series of campaigns. And the second Caliph Umar, he shaped the Ummah's policy of expansion of power. And the Caliph that the Ummah could not be maintained out of the modest income derived from trades and taxes, because at that time there was moderate income, because they were not earning, they were not having that large amount of income, and even they were spending on the wars also, or to suppress the revolts also. So realizing that rich booty could be obtained from expeditionary raids. Beta, booty means whatever, whenever any territory is conquered, so जो वहाँ से जो भी ज्वेलरी या कॉस्टली आइटम्स कलेक्ट की जाती हैं किसी एरिया को जीतने के बाद, दैट इज़ नॉन एज बूटी. And that booty could be obtained from raids, and the Caliph and his military commanders mustered their tribal strength to conquer lands belonging to the Byzantine Empire in the west and Sasanian Empire in the east. Now beta, these caliphs, they were just gathering their tribal power. Now these two empires, Byzantine and Sasanian empires, beta, they were at that time, they were at their height, and they ruled vast territories and commanded huge resources to pursue their political and commercial interest in Arabia. Byzantine Empire promoted Christianity and Sasanian Empire patronized Zoroastrianism, and that was the ancient religion of Iran. And on the eve of the Arab invasions, these two empires had declined in strength due to religious conflicts and revolts by aristocracy. Because once there was the external attacks, with that within these states there were the religious conflicts as well as the revolts also. So this made it easier for the Arabs to annex territories through wars and treaties. In three successful campaigns between 637 to 642, the Arabs brought Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Egypt under the control of Medina. Military strategy, religious fervor, and weakness of the opposition contributed to the success of the Arabs. Means all factors were becoming supporting for Arabs. And further campaigns were launched by the third Caliph, Uthman, to extend the control to Central Asia. And beta after that, within the tenure of the death of Muhammad, the Arab Islamic State controlled the vast territory between the Nile and Oxus, and these lands remain under Muslim rule to this day. If you will see beta, all these countries, these are under the Muslims, like Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. At present also all these are Islamic states. And in all the conquered provinces, the Caliph imposed a new administrative structure, and it was headed by governors. In Arabic language, those were known as amirs, and tribal chieftains, ashraf, and the central treasury obtained its revenue from taxes paid by Muslims as well as its share of the booty from raids. Now beta, the treasure, what was the main income at that time? That was the taxes paid by the Muslims and the booty they were getting after conquering any territories. And the Caliph soldiers, mostly Bedouins, they settled in camp cities at the edge of the desert, such as Kufa and Basra, to remain within reach of their natural habitat as well as the Caliph's demand. Means they started living at the edge of that area, because to reach in the city was also easy for them, and to reach in the pasture land, that was also easy for them. So the ruling class and soldiers, they received shares of the booty and monthly payments. And the non-Muslim population, they retained their rights to property and religious practices. Means they were allowed to have property and to follow the religious practices, but on the payment of taxes. To hold the property, the tax was paid. It was known as kharaj. And to follow the religious policy, they had to pay the tax, that was known as jizya. And even Jews and Christians, they were also declared protected subjects of the state, and they were also given a large measure of autonomy and conduct of their communal affair. It means these people, other religion people, they were also allowed to follow their religious practices. Now the political expansion and unification didn't come easily to the Arab tribesmen. With territorial expansion, the unity of the Ummah became threatened by conflicts over the distribution of resources and offices. The ruling class of the early Islamic State comprised almost entirely the Quraysh of Mecca. Now beta, whatever ruling class was there, that comprised the most Quraysh, beta, this was the tribe of Prophet Muhammad, right? And the third Caliph Uthman, also a Quraysh, packed the administration with his own men to secure greater control. This further intensified the Mecca character of the state and the conflict with the other tribesmen. Beta, when any because these caliph, they were known as the deputy of the Prophet Muhammad, and they were just connecting with their own tribes. It means they were not giving any importance to other tribesmen. So opposition in Iraq and Egypt, combined with opposition in Medina, led to the assassination of Uthman. With Uthman's death, Ali became the fourth caliph. And the rifts among the Muslims deepened after Ali fought two wars against those who represented the Meccan aristocracy. Ali's supporters and enemies later came to form the two main sects of Islam, Shias and Sunni. And these two sects, beta, these are still followed. Ali established himself at Kufa and defeated an army led by Muhammad's wife, Aisha, in the Battle of the Camel. So he was, however, not able to suppress the faction led by Muawiyah, a kinsman of Uthman and the governor of Syria. It means now civil war started. In that particular Islamic territories, people or these Khalifa, they were, or the influential person, they were just fighting with each other. So it is known as the civil war. And Ali's second battle at Siffin, northern Mesopotamia, ended in a truce which split his followers into two groups. Some remained loyal to him, while others left the camp and came to be known as Kharjis. Soon after Ali was fourth caliph, he was also assassinated by a Kharji in a mosque at Kufa. And after his death, his followers paid allegiance to his son Hussein and his descendants. And Muawiyah made himself the next caliph in 661, founding the Umayyad dynasty, which lasted till 750. And after the civil wars, it appeared as if Arab domination would disintegrate. There were also signs that the tribal conquerors were adopting the sophisticated culture of their subject. And it was under the Umayyads, a prosperous clan of the Quraysh tribe, that a second round of consolidation took place. Now beta, these Umayyads dynasty, now they formed the prosperous plan, and it is known as the second round of consolidation of these Islamic states. So this was the topic for today beta. Hope all of you have understood the topic. Thank you and have a nice day.